Could you please tell us about where you are from and about your childhood?
I am from Haiti. I spent my first 20 years in Haiti, and my childhood was a pleasant time. And I came from a pastoral family. My father was a minister. Pretty strict family, but it was a pleasant moment. Yes.
What was the motivation to leave Haiti?
The motivation to leave Haiti, opportunities were limited and has been limited in Haiti because I'm still in Canada, Haiti. So that was one of the motivation. And I remember vividly that my parents strongly didn't want us to stay. They didn't want us to get involved in politics. A young man who has a college degree will easily get involved in politics. And politics in the third world country is very dangerous. So that was the primary motivation.
Did your interest in automobiles start at the lycée or?
Well, I had a passion since I was a child for drawing, architecture, automobile. Mm-hmm. But back then in Haiti, I didn't know there were such things of automobile engineering, because in Haiti we don't have such things. We have a civil engineer, architecture. So, but I had a passion to build cars since I was a child.
Okay.
I even have a scar on my knee that I kneel on a piece of metal and cut me because I was building a car and I was only probably 9 to 10 years old. So I always had a passion for design, any type of design. But the automobile career was not in my mind at that time. I didn't know that you could do it. And while I was in college, I found out that there is also an opportunity to study, to specify in mechanical engineering design. And at that moment, I found my passion. So I ended up going to Ferry State University because I started at Lake Michigan College in Benton Harbor, then moved to Ferry State University where I earned a degree in product design, engineering, and technology. And from there, General Motors came and recruited me. And that was like, okay, my dream came true. And I was, as a young adult, I became very passionate about cars. And that was an opportunity for me to succeed or follow my dream and to become involved in automotive. As a Asian American, and I was in a program where I was the only non-white. I just don't want to say the only black, but non-white. So all my classmates were white. So throughout my college years here in Michigan, yeah.
So how was there, that awareness was immediate then, or did that seem odd to you when you were in that situation?
I did not expect that. But it was another, I had to adjust also to succeed in this environment. Remember when I graduated, I was, there were only 6 blacks from a school of 2,000 students. My program was, I was the only black in my program. But in technology at Ferris, there were 2,000 graduates and there were only 6 blacks.
What was your first job in Intel? You told us that you were recruited as a student at Ferry State University.
I was offered employment in December 1997. And I graduated in May 1998. So I started my career at GM on June 1st, 1998. And that was a very exciting moment for me. I was part of a pilot program. We were called Designing Engineers. And we were all college graduate engineers, but working as designers. So being able to develop the product that we are working on, and also designing it ourselves. So that was a very small group of individuals. I think when I got hired, there were 32 of us who were hired at that moment. And it was very exciting. The title was Designing Engineers. Yeah.
So it's rather difficult to obtain this. To obtain this position, in the sense that you were very few who were selected.
Because you have to think with both sides of your brain. You have to be artistic and also engineering minded. So thinking about left and right side of your brain.
Okay.
So there were quite a few. Only a few of us that were doing that type of work.
How was your first day like, your very first day?
My first day was very exciting because it was almost like a dream come true. Something that I dream of, especially while I was in college and I was thinking about the Big Three. I learned about the history of the Big Three, and then my first day, it was exciting. Seeing me walking through the building, and it's like that was one of my goals that was reached. Yes.
Would you perhaps be able to comment on how easy or hard it was to be hired for Asian American workers in comparison to other ethnic, cultural, or minority groups at that time?
One thing that I experienced there is that the number of minorities is very low. Okay, and I think there's a major room for improvement. Now, I don't really see a distinction between a specific minority, like of African descent, but I see that what is important is to be able to speak the language, and then and perform your duty. But one of the things that was very intriguing to me is that when the environment is more like the United Nations, there are people from all over the world in this environment. So, but the minorities are, Asian, and the blacks also are from different parts of the world. But there weren't that many Haitian at all. So, it was a small group of blacks, I would say. Although you feel like you are part of as I said, United Nations, different people from different backgrounds.
Was the expectation, because it was a limited number of African or Black employees, did you feel that the expectation was higher?
This is a very interesting question, because me being a minority and also born from another country, I always view myself as being I always consider to be performing above and beyond, because I always felt that the expectation was high. I cannot really speak for everybody else, but I always keep pushing myself, because I felt that you have to overachieve, to swim with everybody else.
How did that make you feel to see someone driving a product that you had such a pivotal input in its design, its formation for people, for someone to drive? How did that make you feel?
Well, that's a very great question. You know, design is what styling of a vehicle. That's what drive. This is the first step to bring customers. So first you see the vehicle on the road. Then after that you want to know more about that vehicle. So you end up finding out what vehicle it is, and then you go to the dealer, and then after that you sit inside the vehicle. Then after that you just test drive the vehicle. But the first thing is the design. So I was for all my career I was mostly involved in design. So how does that make me feel good? I had such a thrill seeing a product that I work on and seeing it on the street. And sometimes I'm pulling over next to somebody, and that person has no idea that I know everything about the design of that vehicle. This is very exciting. Some relative and friends, I would say, okay, I did this, I did that. I know exactly what is beneath this because I was very involved in it. But it is a very rewarding career knowing that you created something. It's not creating from nothing, but it is part of your creation. And then you see the product on the road. Yes, it is very exciting.
Are there any specific ones you can share with us? You know, vehicles that you worked on?
Yes, I can share with you full-size pickup truck, all the exterior trim. There's the heavy-duty diesel, full-size truck with a big molding on the hood, and it was a very successful production. And looking at the way it came out, it was very exciting. And there are many other products. I work on trucks and cars, Corvette, Camaro, exciting toys. One of my latest product was this ZR1, Corvette ZR1. The rear of that vehicle, the big spoiler, the big wing for the spoiler that I was so excited about. So seeing that car on the road, make you feel good. My favorite one is actually the Corvette and another vehicle that a crossover vehicle that we designed, but for the Chinese market. It is the Chinese Enclave. It is a smaller vehicle, and I really enjoy working this product. Yeah, but there were many other vehicles like the Corvette. The Camaro ZL1. I work on that product as well.
I'm sure there were challenges that you experienced along the way in this illustrious career in working in the automotive industry. Maybe you can share with some of the challenges.
You have to please two worlds, the world of engineering and the world of design. And how do you balance both? Engineering has its way of doing things, making things work perfectly well. But design, the focus is to make it look right. Customer can be attracted to it. And then as my goal was to bring those two worlds together. It was challenging because my passion is mostly design. I'm also an artist. So I had to really work extra to prove that what starting once can be achieved. So there was sometimes pushback that, questioning my my judgment, but that will drive me to work extra to make sure it can be done.
How about successes or your best memory working in the auto industry?
My best memories are, as I say, seeing those vehicles on the road and having great reviews, and also among colleagues and management, and being acknowledged of the great effort that was put on putting together, working on the vehicle, and those were good memories.
If we were high schoolers just getting ready to go to college, what advice would you give me as a young person when I'm on that path?
I would say to follow your dream, and especially if you are a minority or female, because I haven't seen too many. I haven't worked with too many of minorities, blacks and females in that field. I would say go for it, because there is room for you, and keep focusing on your dream. And nothing is expected to be easy. It was not easy for me, but you can overcome any obstacles. Follow your dream. I can share this with a lot of young people. Say, what do you want to study? Oh, I'm thinking about engineering. I say, go for it. There's not too many of you, and there are room for you. So go for it and be the best you can be.